You know, Phil, once again with his political and historic sort of background, you know, threw that into the storyline. So it became this real sort of heavy Irish anthem, and it was a great song to play live. You know, once again, to this day, it still is.
Dancing in the Moonlight was another one of Phil's great lyrics. You know, years ago we used to hang about a place called the Star Cinema in Crumlin, and like it was a really sort of dodgy cinema. You know, all sorts of weird people in there, but that's where we used to go. You know, sort of people come up to you, you know, and say, "Oh yeah, I like your gig and that." But we just sit down, and when you get up off your seat, you'd be stuck to the seat. You'd be all chewing gum and all sorts of stuff there, you know. And that's where Phil got all these ideas for the song, you know.
I didn't really like the song that much. It was a bit lightweight for me. Good melodies and everything else, right? But not quite where I wanted to go. But it was better live, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned.
For me, that was, you know, that was all Phil, that one. And I just thought, boy, that's Phil, that's a way different direction here. You know, even that lyric, you know, chocolate stains on my pants, you know. The hell does that come from, you know? But, you know, it had this real, you know, catchy thing about it. For me, it was an acquired love of the song. I didn't start to quite get the validity of it until we finished it. You know, I put the guitar solo on it, and I really liked the guitar solo, what I did. I really loved his vocal and what he was doing with it. So it all came together for me towards the end of actually recording it. Massacre is once again Phil's love of history, and for this particular song, it was the white Americans came along and just sort of unceremoniously started slaughtering the Indians to grab the land and make it their own. And Phil felt a real empathy towards the Indian nation of America, and that's where the Massacre came from.
Strange song again, but more of a percussive thing for Brian, really. I quite liked it. It was good. Again, it was good live. You know?
Massacre was another full-blown rocker. It was kind of hard to play. You know, there was a few dodgy moments in there where, you know, the arrangement always kind of confused me a little bit. But after lots of rehearsal, I eventually got it. You know. I'm still in love with you.
That was already written. In fact, it was already on the Nightlife album. That was already written and recorded. Gary Moore had done a short stint with Phil just prior to me and Brian getting in, so it was already done.
We recorded some demos down in Worthing, in the studio in Worthing, and when Gary was in the band, and that was one of the tunes that came out of that session. And Gary's solo was so spectacular, we decided to record it, you know, properly. And we decided to keep Gary's solo, but re-record the backing track. So I had to go out and sort of overdub the drums, and Phil had to overdub the bass, keep Gary's solo. Phil did a new vocal, and that was the studio version. That's how that happened, you know.
For the live version, Phil insisted that Brian, you know, copy Gary's solo sort of note for note, and Brian was not happy with that at all. Although he appreciated how good the solo was, you know, Brian was his own guy, so he did copy it, you know, note for note, but in a Brian-esque kind of way. He took it and then he expanded it, and then he made that solo his own, right? And then there was, you know, the end of the solo, or the end of the song, and then I'm just off kind of doing my thing. So it was a little easier for me because I had nothing to come up against. You know, I was able to have a free hand and just, you know, whatever I wanted to come up with, you know, I could do. So, you know, Brian's spot in that song was a little tougher, but like I say, he took the solo, and he throughout the years he actually made it his own solo.
And it was one of those settler songs, I call them, because you stick it in around the middle of the set, and if you're having a really bad gig up to then, that song will put you right back on track, you know, because we never did a bad version of that, I don't think, the whole time we were together. And it always had that excitement. So, and that would actually pull you back up there and go, right, next song, get it right, you know.
Don't believe me if I tell you that a word if this is true.
Don't Believe a Word was another shuffle, blues shuffle, you know. And Phil again came up with these fantastic lyrics. I remember one stage there, you know, some of the early lyrics, you know, didn't sound too good. And I think we all said, you know, I think you can come up with something better there, Phil, you know. And he turned around and said, yeah, but alternative lyrics here, how about trying this, you know? So he got his book out and came out with a set of alternative lyrics, and they suited the song perfectly, you know. So that's how that happened. But I mean, it's a really good shuffle, a good feel to that song. Yeah, I like it.
Still a great song. That was a very weird song to write, because we were in a farmhouse rehearsing out in the middle of nowhere, and Phil came in with this song with the acoustic, and don't believe you, and he did it real slow, like a slow blues. And I said, that's crap, Phil. It's just a slow blues. It's crap. So he went into one, ran off, disappeared for about 3 days. This is the middle of nowhere. He doesn't drive or anything. I kind of knew where he was, though. I think he was having a liaison with the pub landlord's daughter down the road, so he went and stayed there. But he came back eventually, and in the interim period, I said to Downey, when I was sitting in there, he's getting really cheesed off. Where's that bloody Phil? I said, well, look, you know, he's obviously cheesed off about me saying we weren't going to do it. So let's try and do it another way then. So I thought I would do a riff on it. Downey came up with, let's do a shuffle on it. I said, great. And then I wrote the riff. And then he came back in and he was all, oh, that's cool. So I think it turned out better the way it was. But again, that's another example of the band putting stuff in and possibly not getting the recognition they should. Because it would never got done if Downey hadn't suggested the shuffle, you know.
I think Are You Ready? It was one of those kind of sound check things, you know. Somebody starts a groove and you just off and away and you're doing it, and after a while you realize, hey, that's kind of a cool groove. Let's kind of hone in on this a little bit. And well, let's try this. I got this riff over here, and then everybody starts throwing their ideas in, and then it becomes this song, you know. And it actually, the phrase "Are you ready?" seems to me after that became this phrase that you know, a lot of other bands started to use. Just, hey, are you ready?
Yeah, that was just something to put on the end of the set that sort of was fast-paced and hard, which it is, so that worked quite well.
It was a kind of a showstopper, you know. It was not much went into that song. It was just sort of knocked out in about an hour or so, you know. We actually wrote it fairly quickly.